Good evening, everyone. It's Monday, July 13th, 7:01 p.m. for the regular scheduled town council meeting of Copper Canyon. I'll call it to order. Pledge of allegiance to the American flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. And second item of the agenda is public input. Citizens may address the council on portion of the meeting for topics that are not listed on the posted agenda. Do we have anybody that wishes to speak? Sheila, anybody on a sign-up sheet yet? No sheets. Anybody in the audience wish to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public input, and we'll go to staff, council, mayor reports of items of community interest. Town Manager Troy, if you're ready.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of quick updates as we've been working on the budget. We'll continue to do that as well. We had a very successful 4th of July event. The Woodlands Women's Club, Carol and Kara, did an outstanding job at putting that together and kind of making that event happen. And so their husbands were grilling, and I think it was a great success. We had probably 300 plus burgers handed out and 100 and almost 200 hot dogs handed out. So we had a big crowd there, that's for sure. And appreciate the mayor for all his help and rolling up the sleeves and getting here at 7 a.m. and doing his thing and setting out tables and all the stuff. So that was a huge success. The Estates Bridge project, as I mentioned in the workshop, we met this week, and that project is still going. They had the lead engineer changeover, so there was a month that we didn't meet, but we're hoping to have some open house meetings or town hall meetings related to that project in September, and to give us a better idea of what the cost of that project's going to be. Upcoming events, we've got August 10th, we have a council meeting, which will have the first official presentation of the budget, potentially a P&Z meeting on the 17th, and then we'll have a second meeting, town council meeting in August, and that'll be August 24th. So that's coming as well. Development-wise, we've got Twin Oaks. They continue to work on the drainage. They poured some drainage flumes this past week before the rains hit. So that project is still going. Copper Knolls, they're working on their final punch list items. They're getting very close. Hopefully they'll have those things wrapped up in the next couple of weeks. Ani Ranch, they're still working through some site landscaping. You've probably noticed there's some fencing columns that have gone up, as well as their entry signs. So that they're still making progress there. And the Hacienda is here tonight for the preliminary plat for you guys to review. So that's on the agenda for tonight. The chief went out of town this weekend and his flight got delayed. So he's a little late, but I'll just do a quick update for him. He had 54, the department had 54 calls of service this month, 138 citations as well. And then you guys may have noticed on Copper Canyon Road and on Chin Chapel, we have the digital speed signs. And so I think they're being pretty effective. Every time I go by one, people seem to be hitting their brakes and more aware what the speeds are on those roads. We have another sign that will be put up on Orchid Hill as well, just to create some additional awareness. I drove by the one today on Chin Chapel, and it clocked a bicycler going seven miles an hour. So it even does the bicycles. And so that was interesting to see that. I wasn't sure if it was going to work.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second while you're speaking there, Troy?
Sure.
I want to talk about the speed signs for just a second. We get a lot of comments from people about, oh, you're not doing anything. The town's not doing anything about speeders and things like that. And the answer is you're never going to stop speeders. People are going to speed no matter what, right? All we do is make them aware of what they're doing. And there we have these signs. So we do listen. We move forward on issues. We talk about it amongst ourselves, and we put these things out here to try to attempt to increase our police awareness of speeding on our major roads. So we're out there. We're going to add more of these on Orchid Hill, still on that process. So just be aware, they are showing up. One thing, we will not be taking pictures of cars. license plates or anything like that. These are just awareness items for people that knowing that our fine police officers are right around the corner behind these signs.
There you go. Thank you, Mayor. Do y'all have any questions as it relates to the engineering update? I have Schaefer here tonight from TMP. If y'all have any questions for him. And if not,
I don't have a question for him, but I told him this personally, the work that they did on the questions for Hacienda de los Sueños that we got in our packet, that was a lot of work and a lot of comments. And I just want to say thank you guys for doing that because it made it really easy for us to read and for me at least, to understand the process and what the proposed development has done to satisfy what you need. So thank you guys for that.
And then now I invite the Fire Chief Vaughn up and give his update.
Evening, Mayor. Council.
Evening.
Thank you for having me, Ricky Vaughn, your fire chief. First, I just want to say, congratulations and kudos to everybody who participated and made the July 4th celebration a special event. It was a great day, obviously, as we honored 250 years of the birth of our nation, and it was just a really great celebration. We had 6 parades and events just that day. I think we had 9 total, but that one, y'all's is very special. It's very small town, very Americana, and you also do hamburgers and hot dogs. Can't beat that either. So. And snow cones, my favorite. So, no, I really just, Troy, I know everybody's out here. It was hot, and everybody's working hard, and it was really a good event. So, kudos, and thank you for allowing us to participate. We enjoyed that. The parade's always fun, and seeing all the kids is always a good time. So, the biggest news for us is on July 1st, we opened our 4th fire station. This is in Northlake near Dale Earnhardt and I-35. It went into service 10 o'clock that morning, and we've been making calls since. So in your report, you're going to probably start seeing more calls because of that. We're already have an influx in growth year to date. We're actually about 9% increase in call volume for the year. But I would imagine next month you're going to start seeing more, and we probably wouldn't be unheard of us to get over 400 calls in a month because we're adding that area to our district. So it's just growth, and we're just continuing to see that. Looking forward to, we're going to be doing a grand opening at some point. Had some discussions with the commissioners about that at our last meeting, and we just hadn't finalized it. But probably my guess is late August, maybe early September, get maybe past summer a little bit, get past some of the heat. That's what some of their biggest concerns about. How hot's it going to be, So, but we'll be looking to do that, and more information will come out about that. Other things going on, we just completed all our summer safety series with the children's activity. We had our Kids for Snakes, our biggest draw. We had that back on the 11th. And we did one of those here at Station 513 at 6 p.m. for that. And then we've got, at the end of the month, we'll be working with Copper Canyon PD and all the neighboring local law enforcements. We'll have an active threat scenario, some training we got planned at the end of the month. It'll be at the Wells Church, so you may see that. Maybe some news kind of stuff just so people are aware of what's going on. But it's just, it's one of those things you have to train for, unfortunately, in this day and age. So, but other than that, I'll keep it short, and I'll take any questions you have.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
I have a question for
Oh.
you. I saw that you were gonna do like an AD
Yes.
class, and
We
will you be
are, and
posting
I'm
that
gonna
soon?
I don't have the dates on that. We're
Okay.
still working on that. We try to do a couple of bigger classes. This will be one of the bigger ones, and so I will get that and I'll send that out.
Okay.
So, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Troy, for
Nope,
your,
I
for
think
your
that's it, Mayor.
perspective?
Turn it back to you.
All right, very good. Let's move on now to the consent items. And these are normally considered routine administrative. We do have a couple corrections I want to make. One personally here on the first item, which is page 5. This would just be an amendment, dropping off the motion for tabling consideration table item number 1 and removing the until the next council meeting. That was not part of the actual vote that we did. So it was just tabling the consideration of the item at the time in those meeting minutes. So that's a correction I'd like to make.
I have one thing that I was thinking about. It says number 3, approve the interlocal no, that's not it. Number 5, vote to appoint a representative to DENCO. And we got the resumes, But if we approve the resolution, we don't get to vote on who we choose. So I would like to either remove number 5 to a discussion item.
We could move it to items for consideration and take a vote on that later on in the meeting here. In the
I
next
think that
items.
would be appropriate. If
Yes.
we're going to be voting on someone, we need to actually have some discussion.
I
about
agree.
it.
Okay. So that'll be the two corrections for our consent agenda items. Does anybody else have any other corrections that they want on the consent agenda that they've read? Okay. So with the amendment based on item number 1 and Paula's recommendation to remove the number 5 to an actual item for consideration and vote, I'll take a motion to accept the rest of consent agenda items 1, 2, 3, 4. As a-
2, 3,
to
4.
approve these consent items. Thank you, ma'am. With the amendment for number 1.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda with changes taking off number 1 and number 5.
Second? No, just correcting. Amended.
As stated, with the exception of remove number 5 and move it onto the
Okay.
items for consideration, and with the one change to the June 8th, 2026 minutes of council.
What'd she say?
Yes. We'll do that. Do I get a second to Deborah's motion? Seconded. Motion actually made by Councilmember Castillo, seconded by Councilmember Hubbard. All in favor of accepting approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. That's approval, one unanimous decision. Okay, moving on to the next item is discussion items. Discuss proposed open space ordinance.
And Mayor, I have the proposed update to the verbiage that's in the packet, so I'm going to pass that around so everybody have a copy of that.
So this is, for everyone out there, this is about presenting new developments would be or have a requirement to build and provide open space, parks, and recreation areas inside those developments for our citizens. And we currently don't have anything like that in our town. And consequently, we don't have any parks or anything like that for families to go play in, run their dogs, whatever we have inside our developments. So I've been working on this with the council members and also with our town staff. And we have an agenda, excuse me, a resolution that's been written up. And the only adjustment to from the package that you all had in that you were issued to last week is I rewrote how we explain the amount of required and separate space based on lot size. One of our council members worked on it initially here, Jeff Dahl. He's not here tonight, but we took it and massaged it a little bit based on lot size. And does any council member have a question on this new writing? The things I've added, I'll mention these. I did an explanation on any development has a combination lot size to it. In other words, if let's say there's 1/3 size lots and half-acre lots, 1/3 acre lots and half-acre lots in one development, it defines, for an example, how much park space, how much open land is a requirement for that development. And you can draw conclusions however the developer comes up with their conclusion, with their development plan. I also wrote a sentence in here, an addition note that says, parkland and open space inside a fully gated community or HOA is for that community or HOA use only. Previous meetings, Councilmember Castillo brought up a good point. Well, how are people going to get in there? Well, the answer is that's an amenity for that HOA to draw and sell houses to it, to having a park space in it. So it really would be for that HOA or that gated community only. The rest of them are all about the same. And of course, the town council finally could combine park space depending upon the plan presented by the developer or whatever, or they could, based on the final plat issue. So that's how I rewrote this discretion here. Anybody have any discussion points? I see
I do.
Councilmember Newton.
So my question is about, Section 8 and the maintenance enforcement. And I guess my question is kind of more directed towards, Deborah, a question for our lawyer.
Sorry, which section?
Section 8 and point 3, and where it says, if HOA fails to maintain the facility to town standards, the town may, after 30 days' notice, perform necessary work and bill the entity. Failure to pay within 120 days shall be deemed an intent by the owners to dedicate the lot to the town. And so the specific point where it says shall be deemed an intent by the owners to dedicate the lot to the town, I guess my question is, my experience in kind of an HOA is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that that's kind of not the remedy that I understand when I don't do something in an HOA. And so the way I understand it is it's not an affirmative act. It's just not implied for non-payment. Is that the way that I get a lien placed against me eventually? And a court of law is who determines something. I'm not a lawyer. I don't do property law. I don't have a law degree. I'm just a council member. So I'm leaning on you to help me understand.
I do agree with you. I do think that we need to reexamine that specific point and perhaps find a different solution that's not quite as legally dubious.
Okay, thank you. I think what mirrors other things that I see in our already established areas of things in Copper Canyon for mowing and abatement for other nuisances and demolition and some other things, the things that I see are that we issue a notice, we do a cure period of like 30 to 60 days, we have civil penalties, we say you do the work, and we then try to recover costs. We then follow other procedures if somebody refuses, and we ask our kind lawyer that we like to issue some kind of notice, very kindly worded with stern words, and then we remediate through the court system. Is that not our process?
I mean, potentially, this is something that I think it's legally dubious as worded, and I think we need to definitely work on it, and it needs to be clear. There needs to be a procedure, as you've pointed out, okay? And that's definitely something we need to look at.
Okay. I will leave it at that. When I dedicate land to someone, that's something I do voluntarily, not, I don't see someone willingly doing that. So, okay, thank you.
All right, we'll work on that language. We are going to, this whole document, this is for discussion only, will be updated and worked on, and that will be one area we'll work with our lawyer, our town lawyer, and our town staff to make sure we get that language. And if you have any suggestions for a paragraph that you'd like to have written in there, we'll see that be on our desk sometime soon.
That's above my pay grade. That's not something that I do. I just noticed that that's not language that seemed something that was for me. I don't write ordinances or do things of that nature. It just seemed that that would cause trouble. But other than that, I do believe that this is something that is a good document. And so I want it to be something that will be for our town, and that will be in good wording so that we will be able to use it and we'll go forth and be for our town.
And I'm not asking for a legal document. I'm asking what suggestion items would you like to see in there? And then we'll take it.
The suggestion that we have the same kind of language that we already have, which is that we would do a court system of, that we would
Go on a
abate
violation ordinance track.
correct. Did I not mention
no,
the correct
I think
procedure?
that's where she's going, and I think there's, I agree with the notice and the cure, and I think, we need to talk about maintaining a facility to town standards. That's,
Yes, that. Thank you.
that's, what are those standards? So,
Okay. Any other discussion from any other council member? Ms. Henry, do you have any comments? No comments? Okay, very good. Well, that's where we're at right now with this, and we are going to run it through our legal team here this month, and hopefully we'll have a completed ordinance for your availability for your discussion and consideration at the next meeting. Is where I hope to get that to. Next item. Any other discussion items on the open space ordinance? Hearing none, we'll close that discussion item and we'll move to items for consideration by the town council. We're going to start off with resolution 2601, voting to appoint a representative to the Denton County Area 911 Board of Managers. We moved, of course, from the consent item to the voting discussion and consideration item. Is there any discussion in this area? As a town mayor, I am not suggesting one applicant or another. There's two applicants that we have on the list that we can vote for relative to the Denton County 911. I am not suggesting either one.
Well, I have a couple of comments on that. While I've known Mr. Carter for many years, I feel like that he's definitely qualified to sit on the Denco Area 911 board. I think that also if I look at Ann Martin's resume, I mean, she's been involved for quite a while as well. And, it's not always a bad thing to have changing of the guard. So I personally feel like, having studied both of these, and as I said, I don't know her personally, but I do feel like that maybe it's time for a change. And so I feel that we should nominate Ann Martin as the Denco 911 rep.
I think
I
it's,
agree.
yeah, I agree. I think part of what she brings to the position is she's a risk manager. And not that there's anything wrong with Mr. Carter, but it's really good to have a risk manager. I'm the wife of a risk manager. And so it brings a different perspective because you look at things completely different.
Right.
When you have a risk manager. She doesn't just work as she's got a license. So I think she's going to bring a really new, clean perspective to the discussion. And maybe points out things that nobody ever thought about it before.
Agreed, 100%. So with that being said,
Any other discussion relative to the two nominees? No other discussion? I'll take a vote. All in favor of Jim Carter for the Copper Canyon nominee for Denton County 911 District, say aye.
Don't we need to take a nomination for?
yes, discussion
Yes.
item, we have to make a nomination,
Yeah.
motion.
Make a motion to nominate.
Anybody want to nominate Jim
I'll
Carter?
make a motion that we nominate Ann G. Martin for the Denco 911 rep for Copper Canyon.
I second it.
It's just vote for. It's
Okay.
just vote for one or the other.
well, she's making
There-
she's making a motion to nominate a specific person out of two people,
Right.
okay?
Because we changed it.
Okay. So we're voting for anybody, we have a vote for Ann Carter for our
Ann
911.
It's been
Ann Martin,
seconded.
excuse me. Well, that's
And it's
confusing.
been seconded.
Denton County 911 District participating municipal jurisdictions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay.
I said aye.
The Copper Canyon nominee for Denco 911 District is Ann Martin. I'm gonna go back to this paperwork. And we'll go to the next item. And items for consideration, public hearing and discussion, consider taking action recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding Hacienda de los Sueños preliminary plat, lots 1-4, Block A. Oh, thank you. We have a public hearing that has to occur first. So we'll open a public hearing at 7:37. Is there any comment, public hearing on, relative to the Hacienda de los Sueños? Sueños. No comment from public hearing. We'll close the public hearing at 7:38. 7:28. And now we'll take any discussion to consider taking action. Any discussion on this plat? I'll start discussion with it. I'll say great job once again, as repeated, for the TNP people on their answers for all the questions, and that's a great format to do it in. Lets us decide very well. Anybody else have any other discussion points?
Did we look into the tree ordinance in approving this? I mean, because there are quite a few trees on that property.
Yeah, they were required to do a tree survey, and they're meeting those requirements of the
Okay.
ordinance, yeah.
Awesome. I mean, I think it's well done. I know they've been working on that quite a while, and I studied that, tried to read through Schaefer's notes as well as I could, and it looks like they've done everything that's been asked of them.
That's correct.
And so, I mean,
Fire Chief, you looked at that cul-de-sac, right? It's big enough for you? Yeah. I know that was a discussion point before. Yeah, mine does.
Mon said it was fine. Anyone else?
Any other discussion items relative to this plat for this new division, new 4 houses? With that, I'll close the discussion and I'll take a motion for accepting the plat.
To approve.
Motion to approve the plat.
I make a motion that we approve the recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding Hacienda de los Sueños, preliminary plat, lots 1-4, Block A, allowing for the development of approximately 9.6 acres situated in the J. Edmondson Survey, abstract number 398, in the town of Copper Canyon, Texas, to allow for the development of 4 single-family lots located at 399 Woodland Drive, Copper Canyon, Texas, 75077.
Motion made by Councilmember Newton,
I second the motion.
seconded by Councilmember Hubbard. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. The plat is approved.
And that's the preliminary plat.
Preliminary plat is approved by unanimous decision.
I missed one more.
Next item, discuss and consider and take action regarding 2026 work order number 1 related to the 2026 annual contract for miscellaneous pavement repair and drainage improvements with Cracks Paving LLC.
Mayor, Council, this is part of our bid documents that we have with the LLC, and this is our annual maintenance that we do. And so based on the digital assessment that we did this earlier this year, these were the roads that came up that needed to be addressed. And so this what the work order is covering. Any questions?
Any questions, any discussion on the
So-
initiating this contract?
If we approve, when will the construction start, or when will the
We'll get with the contractor, but I think by the end of this month, early September, they'll probably get it on the schedule.
Okay,
So it'll be before the close of the fiscal year.
perfect.
Hearing no other discussion, I'll take a motion for approval of the contract with Cracks Paving LLC.
I'll make a motion that we approve work order number 1 related to the annual contract for miscellaneous pavement repair and drainage improvements between the town of Copper Canyon and Cracks Paving LLC.
Motion made by Councilmember Castillo,
I second the motion.
seconded by Councilmember Hubbard. All in favor, say aye.
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 All against, say nay. And that passes unanimously on approval of the contract with work order number 1. Next item, discuss, consider, take action regarding license and consent on easement structures granted to the Secretary of the Army to the town of Copper Canyon for the equestrian trails, tracks. We don't have to read all those, do we?
I have a couple of comments on that. This is really important, as you
Yes.
and I have had multiple conversations about it to our equestrian residents. This is a lot of things to read. I tried to read as much as I could. One of the questions I have that's always come up is, who is the jurisdiction for law enforcement there? Because in the old days, they would say, oh, that's Corps property. So Corps of Engineers, we have no jurisdiction there. And you know that we've had issues with the e-bikes and the scooters and all that. And you brought it up in your presentation. Thank you for that.
Yep.
So who is in charge of law enforcement?
I'll check on that.
Okay.
Councilmember, and I'll let you guys know. I'll follow with that.
Okay.
So
That's just something that people
typically,
have
if
asked me.
there's an emergency on the trail, I think local jurisdictions will respond.
Like, Chief, would you, Chief on?
He's out of town. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I'll follow up and see who kind of holds that.
Okay, because there have been, and then also thank you for addressing signage, because you know they've been
Yes.
asking for that for
Yep.
a year or so, so thank you for
No,
that.
you're welcome.
But yeah, I'm happy to see that we're
Yep.
keeping this up, because they rely on those trails
Yes.
a lot.
And part of our commitment is this is renewing our 5-year lease to utilize those trails, but also we do maintenance twice a year on those trails as well. So our commitment is to go out and we get volunteers to go out and kind of mow the trails and keep them clean if trees fall on them, that type of thing. So
Exactly.
Is there a cost to the town, or is it just all
Th-
the
there-
volunteer work?
it's all volunteer work. As far as renewing this lease, there's a $400 fee that they
But there's
require.
not an ongoing, like, we have to.
Very rarely.
We
I
have
mean,
to have, pay for equipment to do the mowing.
No,
or
we typically
whatever.
use volunteers. We'll get a
Okay,
big
they provide
dumpster
that.
out there, and we'll pay for if the dumpster gets full, we'll pay to have it, dumped at the landfill, but not to lease the dumpster.
We
but
may
yeah.
have to pay for some signage, but it's
Yeah.
much needed, and they
Yeah.
need to update that, and we need to make sure, and there have been questions about maybe putting in a trail camera there, but, you know,
Right.
for the e-bikes, because there have
Yep.
been some serious accidents with that.
Sure.
But anyway, I'm really happy that we're going through with this again.
All right.
Okay. Any other discussion on that license agreement? I'll take a motion to approve the license and agreement with the Corps of Engineers. Secretary of the Army.
I'll make a motion that we approve the license and consent to the easement structures to the Secretary of the Army to the town of Copper Canyon to operate, maintain, and repair the equestrian trails.
Thank you, Paula. And motion made by Councilmember Castillo. Second?
I second it.
Seconded by Councilmember Newton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. And that's approved unanimously for approving of the contract with the Secretary of the Army. Discuss, consider, take action. Next item, discuss and consider, take action relative professional services for Copper Canyon between the town and Place Strategies, Inc. This is the gentleman who helped us with our ordinances, and he's willing to continue on and work with us and hopefully make our ordinance changes and updating even better than we've had already for the last year.
Right.
And also, I'm sure, help our lawyer out too and unload some work from her. So, Troy, you have any comment?
Yeah, so Mayor and Council, what this agreement does for us, it gives us a resource to call when maybe there's a conflict in the ordinance. He can kind of interpret that conflict based on his experience. He does a similar agreement with Keller and Justin and a couple other cities in the area, so he's kind of that development person and or he writes, ordinances, that type of thing for other cities. And so anytime we want to tweak or update our ordinances, we usually will pull him in and say, okay, what are you seeing out there? What makes sense for Copper Canyon? What fits Copper Canyon? And then he'll kind of instruct us on an hourly basis. And so that's really what this is to lean on him as a resource, and he would charge us hourly, whether we use him for 1 hour a month or we're using 10 hours per month. It's just on an as-needed basis.
A question. I saw that on the fee schedule, one of the fees was as professional planner and architect. I'm assuming that there's somebody with the firm that has an urban planning degree. Is that also how we think that someday we might need them?
Yeah, I mean, just if we needed him for that purpose. So if we were going to update our master plan, for example, or, rework that completely, or our comp plan, then he could potentially play a role in that.
Okay.
Would that be Yvonne, same, or
Yes, correct.
somebody there?
Yeah, Yvonne.
Yeah, I
feel
think
ver-
his company does that all across the board.
I feel very confident with him
Yeah.
and the work he's done on our ordinances now.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's delved into it so much, it will be
Yes.
kind of a short move for him to
Yep.
be familiar. So
Yeah, that's an advantage for sure. And his rates align with any other competitor that we've had give us proposals for the initial bids that were done a while back. So they align with that as well.
Exactly.
Is that something that we will, during the budgetary process, have some type of cap or some type of idea in terms of, because that's pretty open-ended, and as much as we like him and
Yeah, so in the line item professional services, we added some dollars in there, because it really depends if you guys want to change one ordinance next year, if you're going to change 10 ordinances next year, that price will fluctuate based on the number of ordinances that we
Okay.
try to change and need his insight on. So could we put a not to exceed number on it? We could, but we have a budget number, and if we see it getting out of control, we keep an eye on that on a monthly basis. So we'll be able to address it.
okay, sounds good.
We'll have our finance committee keep an eye on that. Make sure we're not.
Just want to make
overbudgeting.
sure that, as the finance head, I'm
Chairman.
at least chairman.
Yeah,
I want to make sure I'm mentioning that,
we're looking to you.
being fiscally responsible.
Very good. And any other discussion on that relative to play strategies? I think he's a key guy for us to help us out in the future. No question about it. I'll take a motion to accept and
approved.
approve a contract or service agreement with Play Strategies.
I make a motion that we approve the professional service agreement for the Town of Copper Canyon planning services between Town and Place Strategies, Inc.
A second.
Motion made by Councilmember Newton, seconded by Councilmember Castillo. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. And that passes unanimously. So for the professional services agreement with Play Strategies. Moving on to the next item, discussion of future council agenda items. So this is a list of what basically Troy had presented earlier, where we're going to be at in August. Going to be busy because we're setting up to finish up the budget, final budget numbers, and for approval, which we need to have done by September. So we're going to be busy in August, and that's notifies you of the planning dates and also a planning and zoning hearing there. So it's more informational than anything else. Does anybody else have anything else they wish to put on the future agenda items?
Mayor, I have one additional item.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to request an item of interest regarding a discussion of the possibility of an ordinance for something like possibly calling it a micro-mobility operational.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Micro-mobility operation or e-bike or scooter ordinance, something to do with safety and parking of electric scooters, e-bikes, or other items of that nature, however we'd like to name it. I'm open to the council's suggestion within city limits. I think that it's time to begin addressing that. As we see more and more young people zipping around without helmets and the safety, especially as I've noticed Chief Vaughn mentioning that. I'm concerned about our young people, the residents, and their safety. More and more head injuries and people that are driving around. I'm concerned about families and I'm concerned about young people. I want to be caring and concerned about the young people and families that may be impacted by that.
So, question for you, if you don't mind, is your point about individual homes and their scooters, or is it about, because e-bikes to me tells me it's a professional company like downtown Dallas. They have bikes down there you can rent. We don't want those in Copper Canyon.
We obviously don't want those, but I'm more concerned about the individual ownership and young people that own them themselves. And we need to address the fact that we have many cities that are bordering us, and they each have their own individual ordinances, and we need to look to what those are, and we need to look to what our own town wants to do within our city limits. And I'm seeing a lot of, as I drive around, I don't know about other people, I know that at night, they're dusk, there are young people that are zooming around and they're not wearing helmets. And I know that a e-bike or scooter or motorized vehicle of that nature, they're in streets, they're in neighborhoods, and I know that my car versus another, I'm trying to drive as carefully and conservatively as possible. And without becoming emotional, I just, from a logical standpoint, my large SUV versus a young person, I know that the impact of that would change my life and theirs forever. And my brain is a little bit more formed than theirs. And the impact of that could be just life changing. And so I know that Chief Vaughn could speak to that, but I want the impact of that to be helmets. I want rules to be in place, and I'm going to do the very best I can when I'm driving. But I think it's time that we address that. And I know that with the trails that we're talking about today as well, we also want to think about the animals.
Right,
and the impact of
absolutely.
that.
So I think what Councilmember Newton's suggesting is to really align the e-bikes, because those are some new products that come out with the
Yes.
biking regulations. So in other words, if you have a
Thank
biker pedaling down the road and they blow through a stop sign, in most cities you can write them a citation for that. Now that we have these e-bikes that can go 20, 30, 40 miles an hour,
Thank you.
we now need to write that type of enforcement into our ordinances, and a lot of cities are catching up with this. So I think that's what she's referring to, and we can
Yes,
definitely
thank
look
you.
at that. Okay.
Any guidance you want to produce to Troy or whatever beforehand, and then we'll run it by our lawyer and our chief and see where we're at today. I think
Thank
it'll
you.
be good.
Thank you. Again, I'm not an ordinance writer. I'm just
No,
a mom
but-
and a council member. And
Initial guidance and initial direction would be good to have them start off with. Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. So we'll put that on the future agenda item. Okay. Anything else from any council members? With that, I'll mention one thing before people leave today. We're going to go to executive session to discuss personnel issues with our attorney. But I'll mention this, we had a great 4th of July party this weekend. We have some medallions that we had made up for the town celebrating our 250th. If you didn't pick one up or didn't get one at the 4th of July, please pick one up here. And I'd like to exit and go to executive session at 7:45. Oh, please. We'll hold off on executive session starting.
Hello, my name is Misha Kaufman. I'm the developer on the Hacienda de los Sueños, and we're so excited to do this project and bring it to the town. I know there's a couple questions that I had from one of my team members, so I wanted to bring him up. So if it was okay with you, can I have him come up and ask a
Sure.
couple quick questions? All right, thank you.
Ladies, gentlemen, council, I'll be real brief. I'm Dave O'Brien. I'm helping coordinate the project that you just approved that you just approved the plat on earlier. Dave O'Brien. If I may approach, I'll give a copy so you know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
One short.
That's all right. You got it.
What I'm requesting is simple. Like Johnny Mathis said, you'll be glad to know my requests are small. Some of you remember Johnny Mathis.
So if I could just interrupt you for a second. So this was a discussion item earlier in the meeting, Mayor, and and there was a public hearing as well, so the council can't take any action on anything that may be discussed from
Right.
this point forward. The final plat will come back to the council and the P and Z hopefully shortly after now that the preliminary plat has been approved. So so your opportunity was during the public hearing if you wanted to do any changes or anything like that.
Right.
So at this point, I'd recommend to the council that this gets discussed during the final plat process because all the public hearings have been closed.
My request is not affecting the final plat. My request is more of a timeline, being as the preliminary plat's been accepted, is that if you look at the plat where the cul-de-sac is, it's very hard
We
to
can't,
determine.
at this point.
No.
Go ahead.
You'll have to work it out with our town staff.
Yeah, you're
Pardon
gonna
me?
have to, okay, so you had the opportunity to bring this up in the public hearing at the preliminary plat stage. That's when Hacienda de los Sueños was on the agenda, and that would, and when it was being discussed. So if you wanted to bring that up then, that would have been fine. I'm not exactly sure where you're going, but it sounds like you've got some requests that you need to discuss with staff. And that's more appropriately done,
I-
not in front of council, but calling Mr. Meyer and making an appointment with him.
I believe I might have misrepresented myself wrong then. What I'm requesting is that where those two black dots are, where its existing structures are, is it appropriate? Can we get permission to take those out so that the surveyors can stake it exactly the way
So,
it's?
so that's
approved?
administrated.
That's a request that you should bring to the town manager. That is not something to speak with staff or with the town council about,
That's
okay?
fine, I understand.
Yeah.
Then I will present it to the
So not
town.
now, call the office tomorrow and make an appointment.
Yes,
okay.
ma'am,
We have a
Okay.
demolition permit you'll have to get.
Right.
Correct.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's fine. Pardon me, I need to understand the process, now I do.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So Mayor, can you re-announce the time going in
We're
executive
going to
session?
go into executive session now at 7:50. And we are going to, we're back, we're exiting executive session at 8:28. What is it? Do I have the wrong time? You're looking at a face like I have the wrong time. 8:20. And that's what I wrote, 8:28 in there anyways. 8:28. 8:28. Is there any action to be taken coming out of executive session? No action. There is no action to be taken out of executive session. I'll take a motion for adjournment of the town council meeting of July 13th. Second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hubbard, seconded by Councilmember Newton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. That's a unanimous decision to adjourn the meeting at 8:30. See you, Deborah.
Bye, Deborah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Deborah was fun. Hey, Deborah, it's a good time.
Yeah. Can you take those home?